All right. Good everyone. Welcome to another episode of New Zealand Salesforce Podcast. Today I have with me very special guest, Jill Nones, who
Hi.
who is an experienced Salesforce functional consultant. So today we'll be talking about Docusign integration with Salesforce. So welcome to my show, Jill Nones.
Oh, wow. Hi. Thank you, Vikas, for having me. Such a pleasure.
All right, it's all good. So before we dive into Docusign integration, as usual, I just wanted to ask a few things. Like, how did you start your career in the Salesforce ecosystem?
Oh, yes. So I think it was in 2014. So when I graduated uni, I started off as a systems analyst. And then a good friend of mine recommended and told me, like, oh, maybe you should try like Salesforce, like a Salesforce business analyst. So I applied to the company he was working for. And then that company, it used to be Cloud Sherpas in Manila. And
Right.
so they have this like, because I was scared before because I have no Salesforce background. And during that time, I have no idea what Salesforce was. And so this company, they're really good because they get like, even if you don't have any experience with Salesforce, they have this boot camp for all the new hires. So they train us depending on the position that you applied for. So they have a training for business analysts and Salesforce developers as well. So that's when my Salesforce career began. So it was in the Philippines like a couple of years ago. And
Oh,
then after a while, I started enjoying doing like business analysis and functional consultancy. And
right.
so, yeah, the rest is history.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's fantastic. So, what was your first impression about the Salesforce when you started using it? Did you like it, or are you kind of thought, this is a bit clunky, but it's complicated, or usually people get that impression,
Um,
usually when they start Salesforce.
yeah, because I was like, yeah, I was a fresh grad during that time. So when they showed us, like, it was still in classic. So my first impression was like, wow, this is a lot. Because part of our training during that time is to build an app, like within 2 weeks. Like when we started the training, the first thing that they told us is like, okay, after 2 weeks, you should be able to build an app, blah, blah, blah. So in my head, I was like, okay, hang on, this is too much. Like I don't know what's going on. It's kind of overwhelming, I think, at first, especially if you don't know like how it works and you just see like the whole system.
Right.
So my first impression was like, how do I get there? Like I have no background about anything. But yeah, after a couple of days, I guess with training and reading some things, I think you kind of get there. And once you understand like how things work on a high level process, it's just like you slowly understand like it's not that really hard, to be honest, something like that.
Right, right. That's right. That's cool. All right. So that's very good. That's very interesting to know. Okay, now let's dive into the real topic, right? So we're going to talk about DocuSign, right? So what is DocuSign, right? So if from a layman perspective, like I don't know anything about DocuSign. So what is DocuSign?
So, what DocuSign does, so it's like an app that captures like the electronic signature. So, think of it, for example, you want to rent a house. Say, for example, you want to rent a house or buy a house. You need to sign some papers, right? You need to sign like a contract or an agreement. So, like, let's say, like in before, if you need to sign something, you need to do it manually, like pen and paper. So, with
Right.
DocuSign, what it does, it gets your sign electronically. So, for example, I'm the organization. I can send you the contract online, like through an email or whatever, and then you can just use the DocuSign app to apply your signature, and then that's it. So it
Oh,
helps like businesses and people to make things easier.
right, right. So it's like getting away from the conventional paper and pen, instead use the digital way to sign a document. Okay, that
Yes.
makes sense. Now coming to the Salesforce integration, right? I believe you have done integration with the Salesforce. So can you tell me a bit about the Salesforce integration, what it was like, and how difficult was it, or is it something a functional consultant can do it, or do you have to write code?
Um, to answer that, any role can actually do that, even a functional consultant as well. I think the challenging part, though, if you're just starting to integrate DocuSign with Salesforce, is that you don't know where to start. And then I'm speaking based on my experience. Um, so they gave us a requirement to like implement DocuSign and Salesforce, and I was like, where do I start? So I think that's the challenging bit. But once you get to understand or realize how to integrate DocuSign with Salesforce, things get easier. So I think for that one, the first thing I'd check would be the licenses that the client bought. So I think when for my first time, they've already bought like a license for like e-signature. And so you need to take into consideration those licenses before integrating it to Salesforce. Because in Salesforce, they have like this different settings depending on the licenses that your DocuSign has. Does it make
Right.
sense?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So so for that big, for example, on my experience, we've implemented like e-signature. So you need to check first, like how do you integrate e-signature for Salesforce? There's also another product, they call it Gen templates. So you also need, I think there's a different setup for Gen templates as well.
Okay.
So you need to check first which type of licenses that you need to integrate it for.
Okay. So it's decided by the license model. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Right.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I'm just gonna say like I guess over time it gets easier after you implement the once you understand like which type of licenses you need to do it for.
Right. And do you have any kind of admin setup for DocSign, right? Or is it just you integrate it and user can start using it? Or is there something Salesforce admin has to keep into consideration, or not?
So
I
yes,
mean,
you need to be an admin as well. So you need to be included in that. So because there's like two sides of it. So you have the DocuSign side, which is like their actual website, and then you also need to configure it on the Salesforce side. So in order for it to work, you need to be part of the DocuSign. Like there's like a list of members for that DocuSign license first, and then
right.
once you connect that to your Salesforce, you also need to add your user in the DocuSign for Salesforce.
Right.
So you both need to have access on both sides.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense. Um, so coming to the DocuSign, right? You said that the documentation was bit strange. And what about the support, right? If, say, for instance, I'm going to interface, say, DocuSign with Salesforce, do they have any support center that I can reach out to, or is that something? Uh,
Yes.
okay.
So yes, they have a support. You can reach out to their support, and then the other useful thing that I've discovered before as well is you can join like the community, because you'd be surprised. Like for example, because before I would normally file for like a DocuSign ticket, and then at the same time I would also post my questions in the support community, or not support community, like the community DocuSign community itself, and then you'd be
Right.
surprised like how many people have the same scenarios as you have. So there are people who are always willing to help as well. And then in my experience, I think I got lucky, I guess, in the first for the first time, because our client during that time, they have a premier access to the DocuSign support team. So I think we get to have like at least an hour. I can't remember if it's per day or per week, but we get to have this number of hours, and then get this number of hours with the DocuSign support, and we just get on a call. And during those times, the specific product that we were trying to implement for DocuSign is Gen templates, and I think they just released that particular product for DocuSign during that time. So both sides, like the support team and us, it's everything's just kind of new to us. So
Right.
the support system and our side, we're just trying to help each other too. So aside from the documentation, they also provided us their notes. And
Right.
then I think another useful tip there is that when you try to study about something or when you try to learn like a new technology, you try to create your own materials as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that helped me a lot. So like combining the documentation from their websites and then those takeaways from the support people and then just my own understanding. That's how I get to understand the DocuSign world.
Right, that's pretty cool because that actually helps, other team members as well, right? And at the same time helps to train the customer as well. So coming to the training side, right, DocuSign, what was the reaction from a customer? I mean, is it really easy to use DocuSign? I mean, from a user perspective?
From a user, like if I'm the end user, like who
Yeah,
needs to sign or implementing it.
from a user perspective, like for instance, you have implemented the DocuSign on Salesforce, or right,
Mhm.
and now I'm going to use it as a user, right? Let's say I'm an analyst, right? Who has no
Mhm.
idea much about DocuSign, how it works. So is it easy to use it? Is it easy to send a document or
Yes. Yes, it's easy, especially because if for example, I'm the recipient who needs to sign, I receive a link in my email that I need to sign this document, and once I open it, it will just tell me which fields I need to put my signature on, and then it also gives me the option if I want to subscribe to DocuSign or not. But it doesn't really force me to like sign up, or it doesn't force me to create an account in order for me to see the document, which I think is really good, because I believe if, for example, I have no technical background and I'm not interested in signing up for this technology, all I want to do is just sign. That's
right?
really useful. And based on like as a customer, I've also seen different like organizations, for example, banks and insurances who uses DocuSign as well. So coming from that point of view, DocuSign is really like a useful and what do you call it? User friendly.
Right. Okay. All right. That's good to know, right? Because in people who listening to us today, they might be thinking, right, okay, let's see how the DocuSign integration works, right? And is it really useful? So that's pretty good to know. Now, we talked about DocuSign integration. That's pretty cool. Have you done any other integration? I mean, just out of curiosity,
Sorry, say that again.
have you done any other integration with any
With,
other?
with any other client, I did one for our internal company as well.
All right.
So it's already in production right now. So next week, I think we just need to do like another walkthrough with our colleagues, and then the salespeople from our organization will start using it.
All right, that's fantastic. That's amazing. Now, you came from a functional background, right? You're a functional consultant, and now usually what I've seen, right? People get freaks out when they hear about integration. They think, oh, it's too technical, right? It's only technical people can do it. So, do you believe that Salesforce kind of kills the gap, right? It's like it's good to be a techno-functional. I mean,
Yes.
ju-
In my opinion, I think it'll be good if you're like some sort of both. This is just my opinion. I think it's nice because, we need to be adaptable and things kind of change every day. And I find it quite challenging. Like, for example, if I need to implement a solution and then let's say I need to implement like a lightning web component or something more technical, it becomes a blocker to me until I talk to like a developer or until I consult like a solution tech lead. Sometimes, there are instances wherein you just need to think on your feet. And
right.
I think it'll be useful if you get to understand how the technical side of things work as well.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's always better to be both, like just for yourself as well, like to make things easier and for you to as you I think it's easier to do solutioning in a particular requirement if you understand both functional and technical.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the thing, when I started in Salesforce, right? I started from a development perspective. So I used to think, functional thing, usually functional consultants can do it. But the thing is that, like you said, it's good to know both sides because then it,
Mhm.
they can implement solution in an efficient way. That's pretty cool. So do you have
Yeah.
any specific feature in Salesforce do you like? Anything you're passionate about? Something you said, oh yeah, this is the thing I'm really into it.
Yeah, actually right now because based on my experience, I've been doing quite a lot of like service cloud projects. And
Right.
then and so I got into field service lightning as well. And right now it's those one of those things that I actually enjoy doing because it's something that I haven't like if I'm gonna look back like maybe 5 years ago, it's something like well it wasn't implemented before yet, but I was like, what does this particular it's like a whole new world, so
Yeah.
it gives me the chance to explore more on the service cloud side of things. So that's
Yeah.
what I enjoy the most right now. And I'm actually interested in looking at like analytics and Einstein.
Right. Data analytics, right? That's cool. So, do you know machine learning, or and what brought your
To,
interest to?
to be
Uh,
honest, yeah, to be honest, I have no experience with it. So that's the reason why I want to learn about it because I've
right,
read like a couple of articles and it got my attention. And I just like
right,
I really want to know how it works and how we can
right.
use it to help companies and organizations. So I'm starting to look at that one right now as well.
Oh, yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, I used Einstein before, so one of the thing I would suggest really. I mean, someone suggested to me as well, right? Before you actually get into Einstein, Einstein is cool, right? You can build a data set, you can build a dashboard, and you can get the stuff working pretty straightforward. It's good to know a bit of machine learning concept, like supervised learning, what is
Mhm.
unsupervised learning. It makes the things very easier, right? Because otherwise, what happens is you normally rely on Salesforce to tell you what is right or wrong, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I do agree that Salesforce did a pretty good job, but things can go wrong at times, right? So
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
so yeah, Einstein it's pretty amazing. I mean, I would say it's if you don't have to be a data scientist, I guess
Exactly.
to
Mhm.
yeah, you can start working on it, so which is fantastic.
And in machine learning, it's just like I think it can be one of like the future as well. Because it's like in our modern world right now, things are just getting better and better and better. And so I
Yeah,
think machine learning would definitely be part of that new modern world, right? So I just want to see how Salesforce would be part of that new modern era, right?
yeah, that's right. I mean, machine learning. I mean, if you are passionate about the data, right, then machine learning will be really interesting. Like I said about the supervised learning, right, where you normally train the model, where you know what is the input and what's the output. But if you are not sure what's the output like, then you go to unsupervised. So, I mean, so Salesforce, I believe they are getting into it. Like most of the other technologies out there, but
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see, right? How it's going to take the next step. But that's pretty cool.
Mhm.
So that's pretty much I wanted to talk about. I mean, it's a short conversation, but I understand it's Friday, must be a time, so we should better get some
Oh,
time
I
to
wish.
about
Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
yeah, like I said, yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
oh no, I was gonna say I wish that helped.
Oh, yeah, definitely, right. Like for instance, I don't know anything about Docusign integration. So to be honest, I mean, I was curious about it. So do other people, right? So I mean, usually, like I said, integration freaks most of the people. They think, oh, it does involve coding or have to do APIs behind the scene. But it seems to me like it's pretty straightforward.
Mhm, yeah.
Based on the licensing model, right? So that's pretty useful. So if I wanted to go to you know to Docusign, right? So Docusign website is the best place, right? I can
Yes.
find some
Mhm,
documentation there as well, right?
mhm. Yep, that's correct. The other thing as well is some videos. There are like a couple of videos in YouTube. Like
Right,
when you try to set up like the connection, there are a bunch of videos there that are really, really helpful.
right, right.
But
That
yeah,
sounds cool.
but I would always advise like if you're just starting, just make sure that you know the licenses first and
Right.
then from there you'd know where to start.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I agree that because licensing is very important, right? I mean, people
Yes.
assume that, oh, it's free, I can use it. It's not really free. So so that can put many companies off because sometimes they don't have enough funding. It can happen, different things, right? So yeah,
Mhm.
so it's always good to understand the licensing model before.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's pretty awesome. So thank you so much for your time, Jill,
Oh, thank
today.
you so
Appreciate
much.
it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
have a great weekend.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Yeah. That was fast. Yeah.
That was fun.
That was fun. Yeah. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.